They told you blood was just biology, a harmless red liquid, but they never told you what moves in it, what sleeps in it. Because blood is not just life, it's memory. It remembers what you've forgotten, your ancestors, your oaths, your curses. It carries everything, even the things you were never meant to awaken. It is not just fluid, it's a bioelectric plasma, humming with coded frequencies, a spiritual current bridging the seen and the unseen, a quantum interface linking your soul to your flesh like a tether to this realm. And that's why they fear it and why they worship it. The ancient bloodlines, the elites who rule from shadows. They don't obsess over genetics because of science. They do it to preserve power encoded in blood, to protect something old that moves through their veins, something not entirely human. This isn't about DNA. This is about destiny, possession, and control over the soul itself. They know the secret. Now so do you. Step into the forbidden. Subscribe to Beyond the Known. We're going deeper than any mainstream history has dared to go. The story we are told is simple. Adam and Eve, tempted by a whisper, disobeyed and were cast out. But there is another telling, one passed through Gnostic sects, early heretical texts, and forbidden scrolls buried under the sands of time. It speaks not only of deception, but of union. Some ancient traditions, even among fringe rabbinic texts, suggest the serpent did not merely whisper. He knew Eve, not metaphorically, but carnally. And from that knowing came a seed, a different seed, a line outside the divine order, a rival to the children of Adam. And this bloodline would birth something dark. From the very beginning, the human race was divided, not merely between good and evil, but between two kinds of beings, the pure seed of Adam through Seth, and the corrupted seed through Cain. Cain, marked not just by his crime, but by his very nature. He wasn't just jealous. He wasn't just wrathful. He was of another essence. Is that why his offering was rejected? Was it not just what he brought, but what he was? In this light, the exile of Cain takes on a more chilling dimension. Not a punishment, but a separation, to keep the pure from the profane, to keep the serpent's children apart from Adam's legacy. But the Watchers, those celestial beings we met in episode 5, they blurred the boundaries once again. They descended and took wives from among the daughters of men. But were those daughters of Adam or of Cain? What happens when angelic rebellion and serpent blood intertwine? What is birthed when cosmic defiance merges with terrestrial corruption? The answer: the Nephilim were not just giants. They were heirs to an ancient plan, a plan to rewrite creation from the inside out. As time passed, the corrupted line found ways to survive, even thrive. Through Babylon, they wore the crowns of tyrants. Through Egypt, they sat beside gods. Through Rome, they forged an empire of iron and clay. It was never about brute force. It was always about blood. Who marries whom? Whose child inherits the throne? Which line survives the flood of time? Consider this. Why do the royal families of Europe keep marrying within? Why the obsession with blue blood? Why does the papacy, the Vatican, even the high houses of Freemasonry trace genealogies back to Solomon, to David, and sometimes to Enoch himself? Because the elite are not concerned with power, they are concerned with preservation. They are curators of a genetic legacy, a blood code from another world. one that remembers Eden, not as a paradise, but as the first battlefield. As Christianity spread, something peculiar happened. It didn't erase the old bloodlines. It cloaked them. Through secret societies, through encoded heraldry and hidden rites, the bloodlines simply adapted. The Templars, the Rosicrucians, the Merovingian dynasty, even the mystery surrounding the Shroud of Turin and the bloodline of Christ, all these weave into one central theme: blood matters. And within certain secret orders, there is still the belief, heretical and dangerous, that Cain's seed is what rules now, that what sits in castles and under domes is not holy but profane. Whichever version you accept, the conclusion is the same. We are being ruled, and not just by men, but by a lineage. Today, they wear suits instead of robes. They meet not in stone temples, but in Davos and Geneva. But their mission has not changed. It's still about blood. Only now, it's weaponized. Through eugenics, through selective breeding, through DNA databases and predictive lineage software. We think ancestry apps are for curiosity, but they are tools, feeding a hidden network that maps the blood of the world. The old royal lineages now fund biotech firms. Private genetic labs trace their own heritage not for nostalgia, but for power. They're searching for something, a spark, a gene, a frequency, the original code. And when they find it, they will not preserve it. They will replicate it and then replace it. And the dragon gave the beast his power and his throne and great authority. Revelation 13. 2. Blood is not just a vessel of life, it is a signature, a living code, a cipher of origins, allegiances, and power. The ancients knew this well, and those who were not entirely human knew it best. After the Watchers descended and the Nephilim walked among men, something irreversible occurred. The human genome was altered, not just physically, but spiritually. The bloodlines of kings, priests, and emperors were no longer purely of earth. These were hybrid lines, seeded through forbidden unions, children of angels and mortals, serpents and men. They carried celestial imprint, encoded within their blood, unlocking access to dominion, memory, and technology far beyond human reach. But as the flood came and reset the world, they didn't all perish. Some survived, in Babylon, in Sumer, in Egypt, in Canaan. And they bred carefully. They intermarried. They traced genealogies with obsessive precision, because to preserve the blood was to preserve the power. In ancient Egypt, the pharaoh was not just king, he was divine, a living god, a Horus on earth. His bloodline was the key. And this is why the royal houses practiced incestuous marriage, not out of depravity, but to keep the divine essence untainted. This wasn't unique to Egypt. In Mesopotamia, rulers traced their lineage to Anunnaki gods. In India, ancient Vedic kings spoke of devas and asuras mixing with human blood. In Mesoamerica, Mayan priest kings claimed descent from sky beings and practiced bloodletting rituals to activate their inherited memory. Blood was a portal, and those who carried the right blood had access to ancient realms of influence, communion, and insight. But it wasn't just the physical blood. It was what came with it. The consciousness tethered to the gene, the spirits bound to bloodlines, the contracts, curses, and entitlements that ran through generations. Even the Hebrew Bible speaks of this. Entire lineages are marked, either for blessing or destruction, from the seed of Cain, to the descendants of the giants, to the cursed nations of Amalek, Edom, and Gog. The war was not just between tribes or empires. It was a war of bloodlines, ancient and ongoing. Fast forward to the Roman Empire. Its Caesars claimed divine ancestry. Julius Caesar himself was declared a god by decree of the Senate. The bloodline myth was not ceremonial. It was political theology, and it passed down from Roman emperors to Merovingian kings of France, who claimed descent from a divine serpent bloodline, to the Holy Roman emperors, to the royal houses of Europe, and eventually to today's hidden elite, whose bloodlines remain obsessively guarded, tracked through cryptic genealogies and secret societies. Because they believe power is in the blood, not merely in wealth or law or armies, but in the DNA, the soul code embedded in ancient genes. This belief drives their obsession with selective breeding, dynastic marriages, and occult rituals, all to preserve what was seeded long ago. The life is in the blood, Leviticus 17:11. They took this literally. For the elite bloodlines, ritual, inheritance, and secrecy became the holy trinity of power, and the Game of Thrones never ended. It simply went underground. Next, we follow this ancient thread into the modern world, where these bloodlines rule not from temples or thrones, but from banks, boardrooms, and black operations. And they still serve the same master. The serpent never left. If this knowledge stirred something in your soul, you were meant to find it. Subscribe to Beyond the Known, where we fracture the veil, one secret at a time.